What if your biggest struggle, your inability to focus, to stay still, to fit in, was actually your brain's way of saying you were never meant to think like everyone else? My guest today, Ron Souers, calls ADHD a different operating system. It's not a disorder. And through his own battles with addiction, depression, and self-doubt, he discovered that the very thing that once held him back became the engines for his success. Ron is the host of the Don't Mind Me, I Just Have ADHD podcast. He's the author of the Self-Discovery Journal for Adults with ADHD. And he's a powerful advocate of self-awareness and growth. In this episode, we are unpacking what it means to thrive with a neurodivergent brain and what everyone can learn from it. Tune in, and this is the SelfSeed podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's go.
Mr. Ron, it's nice to have you after we exchanged emails and all that for a couple of time. And reading your story, I think I was intrigued to hear more about how you see a superpower called ADHD. And I think it was interesting. And I went through your YouTube, and yeah, it's interesting how you're raising awareness on this aspect of ADHD. And you said before that ADHD is not a flaw, but it's an operating system, and that's even the proposition you told me before. And I'm quite intrigued to know, when did that click for you? How did that the change of perspective?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm flattered and honored to be here. I've read up on you, and you've got a book. You've done a lot of things, man. It's impressive. So I'm flattered that you'd see something in me that excites you. So my story is like, with finding that out, I was like anybody else. I was like 40, and like I didn't know what was going on. I had trouble slowing down. I was about to get fired from my job, and walked into the office because the fact is, like, I was trying to do more than like I was capable of, and trying to prove myself, and didn't know why. I didn't know how to slow down. Had people telling me to slow down, didn't know how to do it. So luckily I had people in my life that were continuing to tell me, like, maybe you should check that out. Maybe you have ADHD. There's a lot of people that do have these chemical imbalances in their mind, in their head. So I went to see my general practitioner, and I asked her, like, I told her, look, I'm trying to slow down. I can't stop. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. What can you do? And she was like, kind of drew a blank. And so I was like, all right, that could be a thing, right? And she still didn't look convinced, but she gave me a list, psychologists and therapists, and I went down that list. There was no tomorrow. I needed the help now, and I was ready to get it, because in my mind it was about fixing it, and there was a lot of relief there, like, oh wow, like, this is it. Like, I wanted to find the answer. Do I really have ADHD? What is the issue? What can I do to fix it? Is there like a magic pill? And I remember seeing my therapist, and the first thing that I remember clearly him telling me was like, this can actually be a strength for you. And I was really wasn't convinced, but I was intrigued. So I started doing some of the things that he suggested, because I was already in a program from being an addict. And a lot of the success that I had was being open-minded to at least try the things out and give it my best go. So I started seeing some progress, and still I was coming from that mindset, like, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna do this as quickly as possible. And one of the things that really helped me in that process was, like, he told me that, when you drive to work, go like you're taking the long way to work. So I literally took the long way to work. So, and that was very therapeutic. That was very, there was a lot of meditation that I would have through movement, and there's different ways that you can meditate. So I was just doing that kind of naturally. So my thoughts would be able to be I would be able to analyze them a little bit better. It was still, there was a lot of work to do, and it took a very long time. It was like an impossible mountain
Yeah.
that I didn't think I could climb.
Yeah.
So what really brought me into that space was leaving my therapist because of financial issues. I had moved, and like I felt like I got to a place where I was good. I didn't need the therapy anymore. And I had it under control. Fast forward, I ended up getting a new position at my job, and that required me to operate like a fork truck, and the same issues were popping up, like on a higher level, where I was running into, like I ran into a reinforcement pole, took that out with a fork truck, and I didn't even need to be on the fork truck to do that. It was crazy, puncturing drums with chemicals in it. Lucky they didn't just let me go during that period. Yeah. So luckily I still had my sponsor. He was like, maybe you need to go back to see your therapist. So I was like, yeah, probably. So I went back, and I really took it seriously this time, because I was trying everything on my own to slow down. And even through that process, I still hit this pole. And I was near these chemical pipes, and like if it was closer, like I could have taken out that pipe, and it was because I got distracted. So at that point, I knew, after serious reflection, because I was under so much stress and so much frustration, because I was like, man, I've been trying to do this, and it just looks like I don't even care. And so I understood I needed to step away from that position. And, it took a lot of humility, and there was a bit of like, what did I do? What are people going to think about me? I really, it was the best decision that I made in my life, because it helped me to understand that I need to start pursuing another avenue, another career, like my own business. I didn't know what that was going to look like at the time. But I started getting into the idea of having my own podcast about mental health. So I started doing a lot of research on ADHD and trying to understand it and become the expert on it. And it was such a journey of because all the information is out there. It's just so scattered and so in different places, and you get little things from different people. There's no one real source that has all the information. So it became like a treasure hunt. And there was so many aspects even outside of the research that I started picking up books that I felt that this was because I've always had that ability to be able to find books that work and know what books I need to read. It's not 100%, but it's been very intuitive. So I started understanding the strengths of it, because I started doing MBSP practice, because I didn't want to become a normal ADHD coach. Because coaching started to become on the radar. And I wanted to, and the powerful thing about mindfulness in my life. So it was I was able to really capitalize on that strength and seeing the good parts to who I am and what I can offer through my ADHD.
I think your story is unique and interesting in a way that it makes you think about sometimes even the little hints, the little signs that we can overlook in this aspect of ADHD. And that actually makes me want to know, in summary, what for someone who has never been diagnosed but feels something similar to just what you said, how you got distracted, let's say, and you rammed into a pole and all that, and it was near the pipe with the chemicals, and what could have been the result of that, only God knows. So for someone who has never been diagnosed with this but can feel something similar to what you're saying, what do you think are the early signs for people that we can look out for?
And it shows up differently, and there's no one thing about ADHD that shows up in everybody. I would say probably the only thing that really shows up a lot is in all my research is depression. But that could be, in PTSD as well, and that could be also in autism, because the depression comes from like not feeling like you fit in. But with the diagnosis, I'm not a real big advocate on the diagnosis part of it, because like, a lot of the tests that they have, and from what I've understood from talking to my therapist, is like they don't really like go in depth, and you could end up like being misdiagnosed with something else. And the treatment for ADHD and PTSD are completely different, and they're going to counteract what you're going through. It might end up hurting you. It's just more about like getting with a professional and understanding like, what you have and what they believe that you have, and understanding like the best ones don't recommend medication first. They want to see how you react to certain things, certain like tasks, writing down. Like one of the first things he taught, showed me to do was like because I had a really tough time standing still, especially at work. I was like, you need to be working, and people talking really upset me, and like, because it's like, I need to get this done and you're stopping me from doing that, and I've got to wait around. I'm not trying to talk. We're not supposed to be friends here. That was my mindset. So it was like giving me things like writing the thoughts down or drawing when I feel those thoughts, so I can get them out and really kind of see them, because there's a process that goes on that when you, especially when you're learning about yourself, is like when you write it down, when you hear it and write it down and get those thoughts out, it trains your mind in a different way. So I would say the things that really to look out for are if you have trouble sitting still, you need to always be doing something, or you're interrupting people when they're talking because you don't, not because you're trying to be rude, but because you're like, I need to get this thought out now before I forget it. Like if you're constantly forgetting things like appointments or your keys or whatever that is, or on the other end of the spectrum, which is like the inattentive, you may have trouble, getting up out of bed or getting motivated for the day, or it takes you a long time to transition between tasks, and that's very difficult for you. It could be a variety of those things. If you have, I would say, multiples of those, then definitely get it checked out. Definitely look into it, and listen to your heart. Listen to, most people know what's going on, and a lot of people end up getting that lazy label, or they don't care, when it's actually quite the opposite. They do care, and they just can't help it. They're doing the best that they can, trying to fit into a system and an environment that that is never designed to help them.
Powerful, Ron. Taking into that same spectrum and knowing that, this issue, you can have this, but I want us to try and now reframe and move to mostly what you try to do, especially taking the ADHD advantage and trying to reframe somehow the narrative altogether. And you talk often about being hyper focused and it being a creative thing, and as well intuition is like a gift, and all of these traits I think they're important with where the world is going, especially with the future of works and all that. And I'm curious, how can now people with ADHD kind of these symptoms, how do they try to embrace them, try to embrace this hyper-focus, creativity, intuition, instead of fighting them? And mostly is entrepreneurs, because people who are listening, probably they're young people who are entrepreneurs, they're students and they're creatives. How can now they take this ADHD style thinking and apply it to their life? What do you think is the ADHD advantage?
That's definitely a great question. And there's no real simple, easy answers for that. And it's not some magic trick. There's no magic pill for anything. Just, it's going to take hard work. It's going to take, doing those things.
Yeah.
But I would say the biggest thing, if you really want to change, and like, is looking at your strengths, looking what you're good at. A lot of people with neurodivergence and period are very creative, thinking outside the box, and they can really, add to a career, a workplace, or especially entrepreneurship. The only thing that really I've seen is the drawback is like the follow through. Being really excited. We're really good at like getting that dopamine and being like, yeah, this is a new shiny thing. I'm going to learn everything about it. But it's usually like 2 or 3 weeks or a month. And they're like, done. And it happens to me. But it's like, it's about developing that discipline and understanding your why. Why are you doing this? Like really getting clear on like, this is what I want to do. And this is what I want to change. And understanding both futures. Looking at what could happen on both levels, both a positive and a negative aspect. Like, how many people can you help by doing the things that you're doing? How are you going to show up in the rest of in everybody's life? The relationships, they'll always get better when you work on yourself and you do the thing and you lean into your strengths and you lean into who you're supposed to be.
That's right.
And then the other end of that spectrum, you got to look at, what is your life going to be like if you don't do the work? If you continue, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. And you're only going to, like, if you have trouble keeping a job, how many jobs are you going to go through? How many, you're learning a new experience and a new trade or whatever, but like, you're doing it in such a counterproductive way. You're not in control of your life. Other people are in control of your life. Do you want to live like that for the rest of your life? And really just taking a look at that and being like, whenever you have that pain, when it comes up, when those moments come up, because they're going to come up, life is going to show up for everyone. It shows up for me. It shows up for you. Like, it's about, what are you going to attach to that pain? Like, are you going to see that pain of the now and being like, oh, I'm just going to sit on my couch. I'm just going to stroll my phone. I'm just going to bury my head in the sand. Or am I going to just look at that pain and see it as like, well, I don't want the pain that comes from just sitting on my phone and scrolling. I want to look at that as changing the pleasure and the pain. And I've learned that from actually Tony Robbins. And the other thing that really helped me most recently is understanding God doesn't make mistakes. So he gives us all a part of him as a gift, and really embracing that, like, because for me, it's not about any of the things that go on. It's about like me doing the things that I need to do to get into heaven, because nothing on this earth is worth trading for that. So it's taking that what I just taught into that next level of like, my goals are like so much further. So whatever I have to do on this earth to serve other people, and help other people, because that's what you really get judged on. It's like, because we're supposed to love love God with all our heart, all our strength, all might, all our mind, and love people the same way. And the only way to do that is by being around other people, especially challenging people. So that's really helped me to grow. But like, I kind of wanted to switch it up and ask you a question, if that's all right. Because I've seen you write a book, you've had a startup, you've done some, and you're pursuing a master's in transportation. Like, wow. What, like, for me, the question is like, what is Laos-based alkali attracted cold bonded lightweight aggregates? Man, I've never heard that before.
So that's just an experiment that a research that I'm currently doing, and I'm trying to create a new type of aggregate to be used in construction of roads, because the world raw materials are getting depleted, natural resources are getting depleted, and then quarrying for aggregates to just the gravel that they put on the road and all that, it is taken from somewhere, and these resources will eventually, we somehow have to play a role in protecting our planet.
Oh, of course.
So that's what I'm trying to develop in the laboratory, and I'm trying to create those aggregates so that they can alternatively be used And why do we call them cold? Because we are not applying heat onto in their production. It's mostly just water and the raw materials to get the aggregates. So that's
Wow.
that's
how do you do
they
how
are
do you do all
lowest
the
alkali
things?
based aggregates, cold bonded lightweight aggregates. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I've
For
never
road use.
even seen it like that. There's, because we have roads everywhere.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you get the ability to do all these things? You seem to accomplish like multiple lives.
I think the biggest part, I could say the central part, is just God's grace. Like, because I have a single brain just like everybody else, double hands like everyone else. But by God's grace, I think I'm able to somehow plan. I like there's a part where you said about follow through, the discipline to follow through in anything, creating the discipline to follow through. And I think that's what I tend to focus my mind into. If I start something, you said when you have ADHD, sometimes you have to ask yourself, you have that passion to start, but then after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's gone. But you have to ask yourself those questions as to what impact could it create, or who are you depriving of the result that you could have got by the results that you would have obtained. Who are you depriving of that pleasure or that level of growth or help or anything? And so anything that I put my mind into, I like also the part that you just said, that that God has created us differently and for a certain purpose. And so if my mind, as I slept and I had this thought that I should do, and it continues to, it is kind of repetitive, I just get into it. And I think that's it. And this, like the research part, just came when I was in middle school. I wanted always to do civil engineering, and later on I did the civil engineering, and later on I ended up here on highways and airports. And I think it's something that I do. And the podcast, that's how everything just happens. When my mind goes into, I just feel the passion and the urge. I just try, because I know as young as I am, I have that chance of trying before I get to the point where I can no longer try.
No, I totally feel that. Speaking of trying, the other aspect is that procrastination.
Yep.
A lot of people, with ADHD have that procrastination, and that can be a killer.
Yeah.
But it's really not laziness.
Yeah.
It's misinterpreted as that, and they feel lazy, and they feel like it's the inability to believe that if what they do is going to work. And it makes sense, because it's like all these things that you failed at, or maybe even the thing that you're trying to do, you failed at.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I think, because the world continues to keep telling them that, doubt is just an imaginary fear. It's not really there.
Yeah.
And if you look at like people, even Michael Jordan, one of the most successful, or even Steph Curry. Steph Curry, if you look at it in the other way, in the way that he failed to get to where he is, he missed more shots than anyone else in the world.
Yeah.
You've got to miss more than you hit. Success is such a small percentage of people. It's just people that just push through. Even Walt Disney, when he made Snow White, like everyone told him he was crazy. They told him that it wasn't going to work. He almost went broke making it, and it was one of the most successful films of that time. It was the highest grossing. And everyone doubted him. Everyone told him, like, no one's going to watch a drawing for 45 minutes. He pushed through that. Because he believed in what he was doing and what it was going to do for other people.
Yeah. The essence that I don't know why it has been created that we either choose, we need to pick between this, or there's that thing as if my father couldn't do it, and then it's like they implant that thing, some of our parents, and they show you that they cannot do it, you can also not do it, or the society tells you, who ever did it, who have you seen do that from where you're coming from? And I'm grateful enough that my parents have been those people who are very supportive into the growth journey and all that. They allowing me, they not just allowing me, but they actually, those how they say they are kind of your gods on earth, and they're there to bless your journey, and it's superb. When these two people are able to tell you, good job and keep trying, it's worth a while, I think. And yeah, that's why we keep going.
And it's the other thing is that subconscious, the power of your mind. Your mind has no ability to tell what's real and what's not real. So you can continue to if you tell yourself you can't do something, your mind's going to figure out every single way
to not do it.
Your mind is literally programmed to find the easiest way. So you can't really trust your mind. You've got to come from your heart. Like, and if you truly believe and you continue to tell yourself over and over and over, that's going to create pathways in your mind to be able to do it. And your mind's going to figure things out on how to get that done. Because it's like once you believe in something, the world is going to come in and believe it too. But if you don't believe, if you believe that you can't do it, which most people do, and I'm coming from that mindset of like trying to change that, and that doesn't happen overnight. But it's not entirely difficult, but it's about putting in that work, and that's like part of that follow through and that discipline. And that's why I try to coach that with the guys that I do. Is like that's one of the main things. Is like you can change your destiny. You've just got to figure out that pain, where your motivation's coming from. And like switching up that pain and that pleasure.
That's nice, Ron. It's really interesting to have this kind of exchange. Yeah, and I most guests I have on the podcast never ask me a question, and today is that one in a year or one in 100 episodes that happens. Someone says, "Let me ask you something," and I really like that. And what I'm curious to just add on top of what we have been talking about for all this time, because this podcast is more about providing practical tools for everyday people, for everyone, for everybody, and all that, and the easy thing that we do, because there's no miraculous things that I believe people in the world do, successful people. It's just the tiny habits probably that we tend to ignore. They have done that, as you say, Stephen Curry, as you gave the example of Michael Jordan, Walt Disney. These people kept doing the same things. Like Steph Curry, I read he has to throw 1,000 shots or something. I'm not so sure. But if a person can continuously do that, then they become the great that we know. And when we look at them, we think it's an overnight success. But what can be the smallest step that someone can take this week to move from frustration to focus? As I say, frustration to focus, removing our minds, our idea about how the society has defined neurodivergent or whatever, and we move just from that aspect of frustration to a certain focus, that firm focus. What do you think could be the small step?
The smallest thing that you can do, I feel, is like not hitting that snooze button in the morning. That snooze, sleep is never going to help you. Sleep's never gonna, I mean, you've got to get a certain amount of sleep, yes. But if you're oversleeping because you don't want to, you're afraid of that day, it's usually that. You're afraid that the day is like, you don't want to face what you got to do throughout the day because like it's all negative. But if you come up, that's your sacred space is in the morning. When you've got to get up as soon as that snooze. And I know it's going to be hard, but like commit to that this week. Even if you fail one time, just keep doing it throughout the week. Just get up every time you hear that snooze button. First one, don't hit it. And then get up and just say, this is the day. It's going to be great because I make this day. I'm empowered. And it's going to seem weird at first because you're like, your brain's going to be like, what is this? This is not natural. This isn't what we,
what's wrong with you?
Remember, your brain's trying to figure out how to not do work. Like it wants to, it's always looking for the path of least resistance. And that's not helping you. So get up and say those, really mean it. Really just like, this day is going to be great because like I can make, like I'm going to make the day what it is. I make it. My day doesn't make me. And just say, I'm empowered. I am focused. I am, just say all the things that you don't think you are. Say it in the morning. And like I said, your subconscious will continue. Like you do that a couple minutes every morning, it's going to be powerful. There's more that you can do, but I would say that's the tiniest thing. that would make the most impact.
Powerful. Just snooze. Cancel. Do not snooze the alarm. Just do
get
what
right
you have
up
to do and tune your mind. I like to
Trust me,
usually speak those verses from the Bible sometimes. When things are tough, I just like to tell myself I can do all things through Christ who strengthen me. And they are simple, yet they are comforting in whatever that I'm doing. And it can be simple as last time I said in the podcast, it can be as simple as I'm in the gym, just doing what I want to do. And it's getting tough, but I just say this, and it's kind of my motivation. And I think awesome. It really resonates with what you're saying, as to do not ignore the what you are supposed to do for the sake of your brain, for the comfort of your brain, but rather take the initiative. When it is prompted in your mind, it means it needs to be executed. And the more you,
because your brain's gonna transform. Like literally, my brain this morning was like, even before the alarm went off, it was like, you need to get up. You need to do this. Like, there's stuff that you can do, and it's like, wow, I would never be able to get up before the alarm, or it would be rare. It'd be so rare. And like, I love what you said about the Bible verses. I would say memorize one Bible verse a week, and do that with flashcards. The one that I memorized last week was like, remember what Jesus taught. Let his word enrich your lives and make you wise. Colossians 3:16. It's like, so it's poetic.
Powerful. I like the sound of that, Ron. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to actually have you on the podcast today, and we share these stories, interesting stories. And I think I love how your message breaks the stereotype that being different is something that we have to fight, but it's something that we need to understand and work with. Thank you, Ron, for being open and for being a great advocate of ADHD not as a flaw, but rather as a supernatural thing given to us. And I think it's important that we have to break the stereotype that being different isn't something to fight, but something to understand and work with. And I'm saying that I want to invite you so that you can also invite listeners of the SelfSeed podcast on how they can connect with you. They can get your resources and things like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And definitely I invite you to come into my world.
Thank you.
Listen to me on my podcast.
Yeah.
The best way to get to me is Don't Mind Me, I Just Have ADHD, and that's on Apple, Spotify, your favorite platform. Also, if you are interested in going deeper and like finding out about coaching or different programs that I offer, you can definitely check that out at youradhdguy.com. It's about that follow through, that focus, everything that you're missing. Like, I get it. Like, I've been through it. So you're not alone. You're in a place where I understand, and hopefully you can understand as well.
Powerful. Thank you so much, Ronald, for being on the podcast. Thank you for sharing all these thoughts. And what I'm taking is, whether you are a neurodivergent or not, the lesson today is we're just beautifully different. We're just different, and we're not broken. So until next Tuesday, to the listener, keep growing, keep understanding yourself, and keep planting those seeds of growth, those seeds of the future for being different, because being different is not a bad thing. Thank you very much, Ronald, for coming to the podcast today. It was such an honor to have you, and it was an interesting session. And the first guest, I guess, in this few 50 episodes or something to say that they want to ask me a question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. It's that curiosity that it's always so powerful. A gift.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless you.